Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our new episode of this podcast of Wamp community. And today we have with us our regular brother Rayhan. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, jazakallah khairan. Alhamdulillah, how are yourself?
Alhamdulillah, all good. And inshallah, today we will talk about something very interesting, but in general, basically.
Yeah.
And inshallah ta'ala, brother Rayhan, inshallah, I would like you to start with it.
Okay, jazakallah khairan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are living in an era which is how can I put it in correct form, is very challenging for us.
Very challenging.
Very challenging, and especially for us youths. Me myself, being quite left the teenage now, but I was doing this sort of maths calculation today randomly. People who were born in 2006, now they're 16 years old.
Yeah.
And me and you, we used to be 16 years old, 5 years ago? I can't remember that.
Okay.
So 5 years ago, we used to be maybe 16 years old, 17 years old. And to think about how I used to view Islam as a 16 years old lad.
Yeah.
Or even younger than that, actually. 13, 12, 11, 10. Okay, from 10 until 16, your let's say, your way of thinking, your way of perceiving things, your way of absorbing knowledge, absorbing understanding of the whole world changes. The way, the format that you knew. So I was thinking, the way that I was living my teenage life in terms of when I was 13, very young, 11, 10, and I used to view Islam as a religion, which is exactly what people who let's say they want to attack or find out wrongs in Islam, they say Islam is a religion.
On that age?
No, in general.
Okay.
In this era.
Yeah.
You see, for example, when you see people on the speaker's corner, for example, or people debating in general, they take Islam as a religion, which is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what is also is a lifestyle. Which for myself, I took a long time to understand that is actually a lifestyle. What about for yourself? Did you take, how was your, let's say, progression towards understanding Islam? Just to bear in mind, we are not fully knowledgeable and whatnot. We're just giving our thoughts. So what is your progress, I would say, or steps?
Of course, in everything, your understanding of that topic or of that subject, it goes with your knowledge as well. More you learn, more you understand it. And alhamdulillah, being connected with it slowly. Yeah, I have to say, from a very beginning, maybe it wasn't perfect. Even now, it's not perfect. Okay, but yeah, the environment that we live in, it did affect a lot of what is my understanding to Islam. And there is always the thing is that from quite a few decades, the religion of Islam is, people are trying their level best to put it down. So that affected me as well, thinking that look, many people can do many things, but because of me being Muslim, many things I can't do. Okay, so, and that's as a young boy, and that did make me have a negative image on my own religion, and that is not my fault, but it is the fault. It's not a fault, but obviously it's an intentional thing. This is how the people wants it, and you know what people I'm talking about. That so Islam, in a couple of more decades, people will start thinking that Islam is a very bad religion. Don't follow it. Okay.
I mean, they're already thinking that, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
It's quite common now.
And they tried their level best 100 times. And that is not their main goal, to be honest. Is not to make Islam look bad to the world. Their main goal is to make Islam look bad to the Muslims.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And they knows that they can't make it look bad to the people who already understood it. So they're like, okay, fine, we'll catch the next generation. Okay. and this is what's happening. My generation got affected by it. Okay, some people survived, some people didn't, and I pray for the people in my age who I see every day, but they couldn't really come to this path. I pray for them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings them back
Ameen.
to Islam.
Ameen.
And if this is the state of my generation, the next generation is going to be worse.
Yeah. Which, when we say worse, we intend more like challenging.
Challenging, yeah.
Because, we both, we lived in a, like, let's say era or zone, especially from an individual perspective, me and you both, that we came from another side.
Yeah.
We came from a, let's say, era where, as an area where, Islam was viewed like something nasty. Like here in England, definitely that there are some hocus pocus people who, addresses Islam as like nasty, but from where I'm from, where you're from as well, is very, like, very aggressive towards Islam.
I think the main reason behind that is, the 9/11,
Oh, yes.
because before that there's people who never knew much about Islam, but after the 9/11, because you see, for example, I don't know anything about Islam. I just know there's a religion called Islam, but I don't know anything about it. Next morning I wake up and I hear the news of 9/11, because my brain has no information about that, and this is the first information which came to me. I started believing that this religion means these things.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and it did affect the people of Europe, okay, and America as well, especially, and it didn't just affect the Muslims, but anybody who didn't look white, and yeah, so our generation was quite bad, but obviously they didn't succeed. Slowly we did bring the real image of Islam back. Nobody can refer us to those people, because we did make things clear.
Yeah, with all due respect, yeah, you're right, but you see, it's like the first impression, right?
Yeah.
So I personally would say I love cars, right, and you do as well.
Yeah.
So when you look at a car that you actually like, the first impression matters
a lot.
So I would say that's the only example that I can give. A car, you love a car, you looked at it, that's it, I love that car. I don't have the money, but I want to buy it.
Yeah.
But the same thing, if whatever happened in that time, it happened. Now, we are not forcing people to say, because, just to make things clear, it's not that people who are not in the fold of Islam or in the religion of Islam, they are having bad understanding about Islam. The problem is Muslim themselves, ourselves, we're having thoughts.
Yeah.
We're having second thoughts. Is this the right religion though? Is this the religion that says peace and tranquility?
Exactly.
And at the same time, on the media, it shows to be such like heavy, such a like, strict.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. We are losing our own selves out. But, throughout the years so far, when since I started reading, like, say, understanding more about Islam, when I started my journey towards understanding this Islam a bit more, I realized that, this life, definitely, it's like something that is not suited for us. Isn't it not? Like, it is something, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, you got this and you got that, but I don't know, for some reason it doesn't fit with us. It's like, one of those baby toys that you put the triangle in the triangle hole, but if you put a circle, it won't fit.
Yeah.
So it has to be the right form. We are, I don't know, a square, and we're trying to put the square inside a hole of a circle hole. It's not gonna fit.
I get the idea. Yeah, you're actually right. People who, let's not talk about people who are true Muslim, but people who truly understands this life, they knows that this world is not the right place. It can't be. It doesn't make sense. Like being born where you didn't choose to, being named after something that you didn't choose to. Okay, living a life. Maybe you can choose many things in your life, but where you were born, which house you were born, what color you were born. These things affects a lot in your lifestyle, and where you're gonna be dying, and what you do with your life. At the end, you just die. Okay, doesn't really make sense, and it is especially to the people who thinks, people of have deep thinking. To them, this understanding will come, but the society is keeping us so busy, with the entertainments, talking about this fake freedom and everything, and we actually forget that where is it going to end. What is the point? Is it just like eat and enjoy and
sleep,
just die?
and you repeat the whole cycle.
It shouldn't be. No. Look, I'm not a science guy. Okay, I don't know pretty much anything about science, but look, for so long the scientist has been looking for a sign of life in other planets. There isn't. Okay, and there could be, there could not be, I don't know, Allahu alam. Okay, but look, in this, as far as my understanding, okay, let's just talk about this solar system that we have. With the sun, we have a couple of planets, okay, which is always revolving around it, and with that there's other suns, okay, making it, I think, to a universe. Yeah, and within any of that, the scientists couldn't find a sign of life. Okay, and you see, like, the planets which are a bit closer to the sun, they don't have life. Also, life can't survive on that area as well. The planets which are a bit further from the sun, those are not habitable for the human as well. It's inhabitable. So the earth is placed in a very perfect place where we can actually survive. Okay, so just think about it. I'm not talking about science here, but look, it's not a coincidence that it just happened to be here.
It's everything perfectly balanced.
Perfectly balanced within the whole universe. Only one planet perfectly balanced. It's not a coincidence. And that we come here and look what we've done. We're not just living beings like insects and stuff. We just eat and die. We are making stuff. We have cars. We have airplanes. We are doing so much. And how come no other creature in this world can do that? Why only us? It's not a coincidence. There must be a reason.
Definitely. And last night, I was reading a book, a book of philosophy, I think. Yeah, forgetting the title. Where the first chapter was about Socrates, which was one of the philosophers in the Greek time.
Why is Socrates?
Is a name.
Name of?
Is a philosopher.
Oh,
philosopher's name.
Okay.
Yeah, I was explaining. Okay, so this Socrates, this philosopher over there, the title of that chapter was called "The Man Who Asked Questions."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in terms of asking questions, I was reading, and then I came to a point where one of his contemporary, I think was Plato, was named. His name was Plato, and he wrote about sort of like story of this guy called Socrates. And there was a point where they mentioned such a thing as humanity doesn't ask questions. They don't rely on their thoughts, rather they rely on their senses.
Okay.
What it means by that is that we rely on what we hear. We rely on what we see, what we think, what we see, what we, smell and say and touch. But at the same time, we should be more relied, the guy was saying, we should rely more on our thoughts. So in the same chapter later on, I've seen that it contradicts with science and religion. It gets in between.
Yeah.
Because, you see, science is all about senses. Whether you like it or not. Senses. I see this, I believe it.
Yeah.
I hear this, I believe it. I don't see, I don't believe it. None of the five senses, I don't believe it. Isn't that the motto they have towards divinity?
Yes.
But when I read that phrase, I thought, okay, you think, from my atheist point of view, with all respect to the atheist people, you don't believe in divinity, fine. You think, because, you know, philosophy doesn't always take in support of divinity.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes support on, you know,
Logic.
So it's either two of them, or there's hardly sometimes there's both of them.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like one or the other. So, you know, when I was like reading that, I thought, like, you know, it's not that it's making me question about my iman. No, Allah forbid. Because when it comes to believing in divinity in Allah, is all to do with faith.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with thought. You don't have to think, is there actually a God? Do we?
No.
We don't have to think, okay, this is the God. No, because Islam, any religion actually, with all due respect, any religion is based on faith.
It is.
So you say Christianity, they have faith. Hinduism, they have faith. Islam, he has faith. So why does people have, you know, so much issue in accepting that how you believing a God who you never seen in your life, you haven't touched in your life, haven't heard his voice, haven't smelt, haven't touched, so what else? I mean, tasting now, but, you know, why would you believe them? So I would like to say, like, you know, why would you then, how would you perceive God? Because you say that you can't sense it, but at the same time you have the same understanding of thinking, meaning that you should think, you say to yourself, I should think whether the existence of God is true or not. But then it's connected to the senses.
Yeah.
So the same thing, you know, when you were talking about the planets, you know, everything was perfectly balanced. It is, most definitely is. And, you know, some of the questions that the atheist and religious people, they ask to each other, do you see sort of like a connection or something? Like, you know, do they have like a relative or like something reasonable to discuss? Because most of the time it's all about, you know, existence of God, yes or no, or you believe something that doesn't exist. So what is your like opinion in like this, so let's say their conflict, and not just between Muslim and atheist. I'm talking about from religious perspective, from a religious human being to a atheist human being.
You know, this question of you asked about, you know, is there any relevance between the atheist and the theist? Do you say the theist, the people who believes and don't believe? Okay. The relevance is taste. I read in a book, it says
for those who believe in God but they don't believe in him.
No. So those who don't believe in God, religion, they're atheist. Those who do is without the A, just theist.
Oh,
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. So
creative.
So you know, this connection, there's no connection, you know, but the point where they differ from each other, you know, is that one chooses to believe and one chooses not to, and the other one asks to the other one is that how can you believe when you don't see or smell or touch, you know? That's why I don't. You have to understand that, you know, those who wants to believe, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show them the sign. Okay, so what did I say? Those who wants to, first you have to want it. Okay,
yes,
you have to want it. If you don't want it, Allah won't give it to you. Okay, and now if you are a egoist person, you know, you're like, nah, you know, I don't want it, it's not gonna come to you. You have to want it. Okay, and the moment you want it, the moment you look for it, it will come to you. And we think that, you know, if the God is true, if the religions are true, you know, why don't I see it? Because you don't want to see it, you're not looking for it. Okay, the moment you will look for it, you will find it.
Yeah, definitely. Because, you know, I was actually thinking about this a few days ago, a lot of thinking there, about, you know, when somebody asks you a question, okay, let's say I ask you this, like you ask me this question, such as, is your watch, the strap of your watch, or is it brown? But my answer, you ask me this question, right? Actually, I'm asking you.
Okay.
You're asking this question. One of us is asking this
Yeah.
question. So, my answer would be, it's dark brown.
Okay.
Okay, but in your head, you said no. The answer should have been light brown. So, even if I give you a whole list of answers, and in the list of answers, the answer is there that I said light brown, but I said, I don't know, less dark. Okay, less dark. You still will not accept my answer because in your mind you made up the idea that if I don't get the answer, regardless that you give me the answer, if it's not the exact word, I'm not going to accept your answer.
So you see, these atheist people, they made their mind up. They're not going to believe in God.
No.
And the thing that they mostly refer to is science. Okay? But they tend to forget that science never, settles down for an answer. They never says that this is a definite answer.
They are based on theory.
Yeah, and they always knows in their mind, okay, this is the theory, this is the answer we have now, and it can change in the future when we have new informations. So science is being so open-minded, and this atheist, when they are referring back to science, they are not themselves being open-minded. Okay, and let's not mention any names, but there were many scientists who were believers.
They were.
Okay,
Yeah, they were.
They were believers, and well, you can call yourself more intelligent than them. It's free country, you can do
free will.
Yeah, but those were big brainers, very intelligent people, and they believed. And so the question is that, are you willing to open up your mind, and do you want to find God? It is only then you will find God.
It's like you have to open the door in order to let it come in.
Because it's not going to come to you if you don't want it, because the God doesn't need you. You need it. So you have to want it. Okay, then you may say, oh, then the God is so egoist, he's not going to come to me unless, this attribute of having ego, it suits the God.
Exactly.
It doesn't suit us.
No, it doesn't.
It suits him. So we in this world are in need of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is not in need of us.
No.
So if we want peace, tranquility in this world, and we want a better result in the hereafter, okay, we are the one who have to strive for it. We're the one who have to look for it. Then it will come to you. Then you will feel the sweetness of the existence of God. Because if the conversation was only about you can't see, you can't touch, you can't smell, that's why it doesn't exist. Okay, billions of believers in this world, they are not stupid. Okay, they are believing in the basis of something. Okay, maybe that basis doesn't make sense to you. Okay, but it's all about spirituality. In your real life, in your spiritual life, you will feel it, His existence. And so I think the very summary of this is that you have to be open-minded.
Definitely, yeah, you do have to be, because I'm just gonna conclude this with the last point, is that you see, we address us being Asians, having Asian parents. Some of us do address our parents as being closed-minded people, and some of us we do say as well, usually being, we should be open-minded. Islam is a closed-minded religion, which is not. If it was actually closed-minded, we would never accept Allah.
Yes.
We would say, well, I don't see him, khalas, that's it.
The problem is that people before believing, before understanding, they jumps into the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
They just jumps into the rules. Oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, okay. Oh my whatever, I can't do this. I can't do that.
They don't believe in God.
Yeah. This is the problem. First, when you submit yourself to Allah, you understand what is Islam. What is the understanding of Islam? What is the understanding of this world, temporary world, and what waits for us in the hereafter? When you understand that, if the Islam was more stricter than this, you would follow it. Okay, but without understanding the whole, religion, without understanding Islam, of course, jumping into the rules won't benefit you. You have to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fasting, he didn't tell the rules. Praying, fasting, it came years after. First task of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was establishing the faith, the iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When that was correct, okay, and the order came, wala tashrabul khamr, do not drink alcohol. Okay, people who could not live without alcohol, they open their drums and just throw it in the roads. Okay, if that ruling came in the first day, you wouldn't have worked. So it only worked when they understood what was Islam. Okay, and for them to understand what was Islam, they had to open up. Okay.
So basically, it's like I get the rope.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that it doesn't slip away from my hand. I tighten the rope around my hand, and then I start pulling.
Yeah.
It might pull me, or I might pull the thing while I'm pulling. So this is how I think Islam would be like.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jazakallah for today.
Was a very interesting conversation.
Very interesting. I mean, we are like the saying here and there, jumping here and there. Jazakallah, brother Hamza, for today's.
Thank you. Inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan. Inshallah, we would like to conclude now. Before conclude, I would like to ask if you have any feedback from you, any suggestion, any title of any topics that you would like us to talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything that is being spoken in here is literally from our own mind.
It is.
In terms of like what I mean by that is like, if anything wrong is from us, anything good is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything, any feedback, any suggestion, any improvement that you would like to put, let us know. Jazakallah khairan. And inshallah, we'll see each other in the next video, inshallah. That's the next podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.